Hey guys, it's Anime K Swimming Bird, and welcome to the first snapshot for Minecraft's 1.12 update, as well as the first snapshot of the new year. This is 17W6A. Now, the developers haven't announced a theme just yet, but it looks like they're leaning towards the often requested Builders update. We've got a bunch of new blocks to cover, as well as a new look for some older textures that might be pretty controversial. So let's get into it, starting with the first new block, Concrete Powder. Now you're going to craft this with 4 blocks of sand and 4 blocks of gravel, as well as a dye material of your choice. And this is a formless recipe, so you can arrange it any way you want. You get 8 blocks of concrete powder, and they are affected by gravity, just like sand and gravel. And they look very similar to sand, but they are available in all 16 dye colors and look much more vibrant than most of the Minecraft blocks that we're used to. They also hold a secret. You might not want to get them wet, just like a gremlin, because if they're hit with a water source, they will turn into concrete. Another new block here, and you can see it just above the powder. They are very smooth looking, but still just as vibrant, except for the black concrete. It kind of looks a little more mottled and gritty. Might be really useful for roads and builds. And that smooth texture and not having, abrupt corners or anything makes it very nice for pixel art, although some colors leave a little bit to be desired. Link looks like he got too many carrots in his diet. And I did build this little texture error block over here just to show just how bright and saturated the magenta is. So definitely kind of abrupt compared to some of the older Minecraft blocks. You can see hardened clay above it for comparison to show, the differences in coloration there. But I do like these. I think that's a nice addition because we do have a lot of earthy tone blocks in the game as well. Now, water is the only thing that will change these into concrete at this point. If you hit it with a splash potion, won't do anything, and the developers have said that most likely rain and snow will not set these blocks into concrete. The only thing you have to worry about is a water source of actual water that will change them. So be careful if you want to use the powder next to a beach or something, because they will change and change the look of your build. But they don't seem like they're going to change too easily, luckily. Now, over here, we've got another more vibrant look for some older blocks and mobs as well. We have carpet, wool, banners, and sheep. Everything linked in with that wool is now much more saturated, as you can see. I'll put a comparison image here in a second, but the yellow for sure really stands out. A lot of these colors look much less muted than they did before, and this is what I mean by it being kind of controversial. I don't know if people are gonna like this brighter palette. Like I mentioned, we have a lot of darker blocks in the game, not so much really bright stuff, but at the same time, changing an old look is not something a lot of players like, so we'll have to see. What do you guys think? The developers did speak out on this, so lead developer Jeb said, "We have a vague plan to update all textures in the game so they fit better together style-wise, and at the moment, Johan, that's Johan Aronson, the lead pixel designer recently hired to Mojang, he is too busy on other things, so he's not able to make all of these, most likely in time for 1.12, but their idea is that they're going to change as little as possible, Jeb says, to create a coherent look and feel for the game." This is very controversial, though, as I've seen already, and I'm sure a lot of you guys might not like it, but this idea, I kind of get the logic behind it, because most other textures in the game from older features were made by the developer who designed that feature, and obviously a lot of them are not artists, they're more coders and things like that. So I like the idea of having someone with more, experience in designing stuff try to make Minecraft look a little more cohesive and, not blend together, but at least make it look like some of this stuff fits a little bit better together in the same game world. But we'll have to see. There might be a lot of backlash on that, and they might revert some of this stuff. They could try to make like maybe we could dye wool with more dye or something, and it'll make it this color, and then we can keep the more muted one. I think that would be the best middle ground rather than replace what we have now. But we do have another very, very trippy and vibrant block over here. This is Glazed Terracotta, and it also comes in all 16 of those dye colors. Now, if you want to make this stuff, you need to take hardened clay and cook it in a furnace, and it will make the same color of Glazed Terracotta. It does not work with normal hardened clay. It has to be the different stained hardened clay to get all these different colors. And some of them might look kind of strange, like the orange has a lot of blue in it, and I think the idea design-wise from these is that you would take something like the orange and put it with a blue block, and it wouldn't look as abrupt when they blend together. You can create lots and lots of different patterns. These are just 6 that I've created by rearranging these blocks, and you can see, especially in the center, the little design changes pretty abruptly depending on how you lay these down, because when you place a piece of this glazed terracotta, it actually matters which way you're facing, because it will change the orientation. So you can see there's 4 different ways to place it with the cardinal directions. So you can kind of maybe place one and then turn 90 degrees and go around, and then you get this little pattern in the center by matching up the corners like so. So you can make a lot of different stuff, and it definitely is a very decorative block, but it has some extra features to it. These are supposed to be glossy so that in the future they won't attach to slime blocks or, by that logic, sticky pistons. So if you want to build and have a nice looking area around your home, but also want to use redstone or different piston stuff, then these might be really good for that, because they might not get picked up by the slimes. That's the intended update that they're going to add in future snapshots, most likely. So I think it's nice to, having different textures in here. This is going to be great for texture packs, because people are just going to go crazy with all these and come up with lots of different looks. The black one is really striking. It almost looks a little bit too modern, but you can see, it has that cooked look of, this almost reminds me of like a gasoline puddle or something, with it getting all warped and seeing different stuff. But I think it's a nice addition, adding these more decorative blocks to the game, especially if they do have a function on top of that. Now, paintings, I've got a bunch of them over here. The magma blocks there will now burn infinitely. I wanted to show that, just like netherrack, so that's nice if you light them on fire. Paintings have a new feature where they will always put the painting down that will fit to that area. So if you want to have a painting, build the same amount of blocks as you would like for the painting size, and you can cycle through them a little easier. They don't really rotate in the same way, and some of them you have to hit the right block. Like if I hit this corner, it's going to fill in there, so you got to kind of hit it in the right way. But you can now more predictably get the painting that you want by just having it only fit in the spot, that you have on the wall there, and it will always try to, as long as you hit it in the right spot, like, a couple over, it will always have that biggest size painting possible to fill in that space. So that's a nice change. I still would like if they cycled through, like keep the way that it works here, but maybe, predictably cycle from Donkey Kong to little skeleton guy in the boat. So that would be nice, but at the same time, it's good step in the right direction to make paintings a little bit easier. Zombie pigmen, if they are passive, you can now sleep near them, so they don't count as aggressive monsters. And I did have these llamas over here because I want to show you that I think the wool colors being more vibrant, I was going to comment, I think they're more in line with the look of the llamas. And the pixel designer, Johan, I mentioned him, but the development team has really been growing exponentially recently. They've added a ton of new developers and artists and things like that, so I think the team is starting to be a lot more large than it has been in past years, and we might see a lot more features and new ideas popping up into the game. I'm guessing 1.12 might be a bigger update than what they would usually do, or at least is going to have a lot of different ideas in it. One last thing before we finish up, creative mode. When you're in here, you're going to notice we lost a tab, and now miscellaneous is down here. So they got rid of the materials tab, and miscellaneous, they condensed all of this into one. I was always, despite playing the game for years, sometimes I'd click miscellaneous when I wanted materials. It's all been condensed into one tab, but we also have a new tab called saved toolbars. So you have all these little pieces of paper here going from 1 to 9. So say you have a toolbar that you like. This is, my building one or my one to show off snapshot stuff. You can do control and then a number, and there we go. I did control 1, and that saved that to the first slot here. And then we can do shift and a number. So if I do shift 3, you guys can see I lower down because I'm flying, but I also load this other toolbar. So you can just, change between toolbars quickly if you've got a lot of setups for different builds and you want to keep that stuff all handy. And if you have a blank toolbar, like if I loaded number 2 and then I tried to save it over number 1, then it just clears that out. So if you want to get rid of it, you can do that as well. So very handy, especially for building. I'm hoping that they add something like that for survival, so that maybe your survival inventory, you could have 1 through 4 and then quickly cycle between like a row in your inventory. It doesn't make as much sense for, being realistic, being able to cycle through all these items really quick running around, but at the same time, there's a lot of stuff that doesn't make sense in this game. And staring into that sheep's eyes. But yeah, that would be a handy feature for survival as well. So hopefully we will be able to get that in the future. So there we go. This is the first snapshot for 1.12. Plenty more on the way, and hopefully we'll have a theme soon. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you want to leave a like, I very much appreciate it. If you want to subscribe, more Minecraft and other videos on the way, of course. And I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.